Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Everyday English Pod.
Good to be here.
It seems like no matter what you're into, what your goals are, there's this idea that certain habits can really help you get where you want to be.
You see it everywhere, right? Like the routines of super successful people.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today.
We've gone through a ton of material, articles, interviews, research, all talking about the daily habits that seem to make a difference for people who really achieve their goals.
Yeah, and it's easy to get lost in all those details, right? So what we're going to try to do today is pull out the really key stuff.
The core principles and the practical things that you can actually use.
So right away, one thing that jumped out at us was how much emphasis there is on starting your day, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like that first hour or two can set the tone for everything else.
It's like a domino effect, right? Totally. Yeah. And the idea that kept coming up was being intentional with how you begin your day. Not just rolling out of bed and going straight into whatever's first on your list, but actually taking some time for yourself before the day really gets going.
And I notice a lot of these people, they actually get up pretty early.
Yeah, that was a recurring theme. Waking up early, having that quiet time to plan and focus before all the distractions and demands start hitting you.
And it wasn't just about waking up early, it was about what they did during that time. Like we saw this habit of writing down your top 3 goals for the day right away.
Yeah. First thing, like before you even really do anything else, it's almost like setting your intentions for the day.
It's almost like priming your brain to focus on what matters most.
Right. So you're not just reacting to whatever comes your way, but proactively moving toward what you want to accomplish.
And it's not just all work and no play either. They talked a lot about morning routines to kind of energize you and get your mind clear. Like even just light exercise, a quick walk, some yoga, even just some quiet reflection.
Yeah, it's like giving your brain and body a chance to wake up properly,
Oh.
Before jumping right into emails and all that stuff.
Totally. It's like setting yourself up for success, mentally and physically.
And it's interesting how a lot of these successful people talked about journaling too, and how it helps them in a few different ways.
Oh, journaling. That came up a lot. Yeah.
It really does. Some people used it to just get all their thoughts down, clear their headspace.
Like a brain dump.
Exactly. Others used it more for setting intentions for the day, thinking about what they wanted to accomplish.
And then there's that whole gratitude aspect of journaling too, right? Like writing down what you're thankful for.
Oprah Winfrey is a big believer in that, yeah.
And it really stuck with me. Focusing on what you appreciate can kind of shift your perspective, help you focus on what's important.
Like hitting the reset button on your mindset.
And I know it sounds so simple, but sometimes it's those simple things that are easy to forget.
Like drinking enough water. That was another surprisingly common habit.
Oh yeah, just having a glass of water first thing in the morning. Something so basic, but apparently it can make a difference in your focus and energy.
Well, think about it. Our brains are mostly water.
True.
So even being a little dehydrated can mess with your thinking.
And of course, you can't forget about food. A healthy breakfast was another big one. Seems like most successful people don't skip that meal.
Nope. They see it as fuel for the day. You need that energy to get things done.
Makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't try to drive a car with an empty tank.
Exactly. You got to put the right stuff in to get where you're going.
Mm.
And, another thing that really stood out was the importance of connections, building relationships with people.
That was huge, yeah. And it's not just about networking, collecting business cards. It's about actively building and maintaining those relationships.
Yeah, investing time in people. And that can be simple stuff like checking in with someone, grabbing coffee.
Just staying in touch, making sure people know you value them.
Right. And active listening came up a lot too. Really paying attention when someone's talking, showing them respect.
Because everyone wants to feel heard, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it builds trust, which is so important for any kind of strong relationship.
And you know what else? Giving genuine compliments, it sounds almost cheesy, but it can really make a difference.
It does. It makes people feel good, and it strengthens that bond between you.
And it's not just about what you can get from those connections, but also about what you can give, right? Like mentorship, sharing what you've learned to help other people grow.
That's huge. Learning from people who are ahead of you and then turning around and helping others who are coming up behind you.
Like a cycle of learning and support.
Exactly. And something as simple as saying thank you, expressing gratitude regularly.
That came up a lot too.
It did. And it creates such a positive atmosphere, both for you and the people around you.
And it makes sense that successful people are careful about who they spend their time with. Surrounding yourself with positive and encouraging people seems really important.
It's like your social circle can really impact your mindset and your energy.
Makes sense. Now, another big theme that we saw was the importance of continuous learning. Like, it's not about finishing school and then just stopping. right?
Not at all. The world's always changing, so you got to keep learning to stay ahead of the game.
We even saw that Bill Gates reads like 50 books a year. That's a lot of reading.
It is, but it shows how much he values learning and staying informed.
Yeah. And it's not just about reading or taking courses. It's also about being curious, asking questions, always looking for ways to improve.
And seeking out feedback, which can be hard sometimes, but so valuable.
Yeah, it's like getting an outside perspective to see things you might be missing.
And then there's self-reflection, taking time to think about what's working, what's not, how you can do better next time.
That came up a lot too. Journaling can be really helpful for that, or just making it a habit to think things through.
It's about learning from your experiences so you can keep growing.
Okay, so we've talked about starting the day strong, the importance of connections, and this whole idea of continuous learning. But none of that really matters if you don't actually take action, right? You got to focus on your goals and get things done.
Totally. And we saw this over and over again. Successful people are really clear about what they want to achieve. They set specific goals, track their progress, and make adjustments along the way.
And they're not afraid to take risks to push themselves outside their comfort zone.
Because that's how you grow. And even more importantly, they don't let failures stop them. They see them as learning opportunities.
Which is so important because everyone makes mistakes.
Absolutely. It's what you do after the mistake that really matters.
You pick yourself up, figure out what went wrong, and keep going.
And, in today's world, things change so fast, you got to be adaptable too.
Oh, yeah. Being flexible and open to new possibilities seems crucial.
Like clinging to one plan no matter what just isn't going to cut it anymore.
You got to be willing to adjust and go with the flow. But, you can have the best plan, the most motivation, but if you're not taking care of yourself, it's all going to fall apart.
That's so true. Physical and mental well-being, they're the foundation for everything else.
And that includes exercise, right? So many of the people we looked at made regular exercise a priority.
Whether it was hitting the gym, going for a run, even just stretching regularly, it helps your energy levels, your focus, your mood.
It's like you're taking care of your brain and your body at the same time.
Exactly. And mental health practices were big too. Things like meditation, deep breathing, mindfulness, anything that helps you manage stress and stay centered.
It's like having those tools to calm your mind when things get crazy.
And we can't forget about sleep.
Oh, sleep. That seems to be non-negotiable for so many successful people.
Yeah, 7 to 8 hours of good sleep. It makes a huge difference in how you function the next day.
And food. Again, eating nutritious food throughout the day, not just for breakfast.
It's about giving your body the fuel it needs to perform at its best. And staying hydrated, which we already talked about.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in everything else and forget to drink enough water, but it makes such a difference.
And it's not all about work either. Taking time to relax, do things you enjoy, spend time with loved ones.
That's super important.
You got to have that balance, You can't pour from an empty cup. So taking time to recharge, do things that make you happy, that's essential too.
All right, so we've covered a lot here. It's almost like all these different habits, they kind of work together, right? They reinforce each other.
Exactly. And there are some underlying principles that really tie it all together, like the power of consistency.
Oh, yeah. Doing those small things day after day, even when you don't feel like it.
Because those small actions really add up over time. And staying motivated, keeping that fire lit.
Visualizing your goals was a popular strategy for that, using vision boards, affirmations, anything to help you stay focused on what you want.
Because it's easy to lose sight of the big picture when you're caught up in the day-to-day grind. And celebrating those small wins along the way, that helps keep you motivated too.
Oh yeah, acknowledging your progress, no matter how small it seems.
It gives you that sense of accomplishment, that feeling of moving forward. And finding accountability partners, having someone to share your goals with and keep you on track.
That came up a lot too.
Because it's easier to stay committed when you know someone else is in your corner cheering you on and holding you accountable.
And in this world of constant distractions, limiting those distractions seems more important than ever.
It really is. Turning off notifications, creating a focused work environment, anything to help you stay on task.
Now, it feels like some of these habits are almost like bigger concepts that connect a bunch of smaller actions, like time management, for example.
Yeah, it's more than just scheduling appointments. It's about planning your day strategically, prioritizing tasks, knowing when you're most productive, and learning to say no to things that aren't important.
And really focusing on one thing at a time. That whole multitasking thing, it doesn't really work, does it?
Not for most people.
Mm.
You end up doing a bunch of things half-heartedly instead of one thing well.
And that leads into self-discipline, right? Sticking to your routines, delaying gratification, not giving in to procrastination.
That's the muscle you got to build to really make those habits stick.
It's like resisting that urge to check your phone every 5 minutes.
And tracking your habits can be really helpful for that too, seeing whether you're actually doing what you said you would do.
Okay, and what about cultivating a positive mindset? That seems so fundamental to everything else.
It really is. Seeing challenges as opportunities, practicing gratitude, not dwelling on past mistakes.
And surrounding yourself with positive people and information.
It's like creating a positive ecosystem for your mind.
Now, organization, that was another big one.
Yeah, having systems keep things in order, decluttering your space, breaking down big tasks into smaller ones.
And prioritizing, so you're working on the most important things first.
It's about creating structure and clarity so you can focus your energy where it matters most.
And we talked about gratitude before, but it's worth emphasizing again.
Oh yeah, gratitude is huge. Taking time to appreciate what you have, expressing thanks to others.
And it's not just about feeling good. It can actually help you build resilience, to deal with tough times.
Because when you focus on the good things, it can make the hard things a little easier to handle.
And then there's rest and recovery, making sure you're taking time to recharge, both mentally and physically.
That's so important and so easy to neglect.
It's like we're programmed to just keep going and going.
But you got to schedule that downtime, whether it's getting enough sleep, taking breaks during the day, doing things you enjoy.
Because if you burn yourself out, you won't be able to do any of the other things we've been talking about.
Exactly. And we talked about connections earlier, but building meaningful relationships, that's worth emphasizing too.
Yeah, putting in the effort to build trust, to stay in touch, to be there for people.
Because relationships are the foundation of a happy and successful life.
And lifelong learning, that came up a lot too.
Always be learning, whether it's reading, taking courses, talking to people who know things you don't.
Being open to new information, new experiences, new ways of doing things.
And then the last thing, embracing failure. This is a big one.
It is. It's so easy to get discouraged when you make mistakes, but it's how you handle those mistakes that really matters.
Exactly. Learning from them, not letting them define you, using them as fuel to keep growing.
So when you look at all these habits, it's almost like they're pieces of a puzzle.
They fit together, and they all contribute to this bigger picture of personal and professional growth.
And a balanced life, right? It's not just about achieving success in one area, but in all areas of your life.
Exactly. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, whatever that means for you.
So for everyone listening, the big takeaway here is that small changes, consistently applied, can make a huge difference over time.
It's not about making radical changes overnight. It's about those small, steady steps that add up to big results.
So as you're listening to this, what really resonates with you? Which of these habits do you think could make a difference in your life?
Pick one or two and start there. Don't try to do everything at once. Just focus on building those habits one at a time.
And here's a final thought for you. What's one small habit, if you practiced it every single day, that you think could have the biggest impact on your life in the long run? Think about that, and thanks for joining us on Everyday English Pod.